Tomorrow is 15th of September 2023, and it will be the UPSC mains essay paper that people will be writing. So let's see how you can score more than 130 in the essay paper of UPSC mains. I'm telling you based on my experience of getting 137 in the essay paper, also compiling the one-stop solution for essay, and evaluating way more than 1,000 copies for UPSC mains aspirants and mentoring a lot of students. So the first tip that you need to understand here from here is write on the subject of the essay and not on keywords. So I'm going to explain to you this with the example. On 10th of September, we conducted this open essay mock, and this subject was given. Nobody can stop an idea whose time has come. So the mistake that you can make here is just to pick up the keyword. Keywords are important, but just randomly picking up the keyword and writing about them is not good. So many who wrote this essay mock picked up the keyword and started explaining what is an idea, and started talking about Plato and Aristotle and every thinker who has talked about the journey of an idea. But the key here is that you need to write on the subject of the essay and not on keywords, right? And not on key phrases. So there is one keyword idea and then another key phrase time has come. So here, if you look at the crux of the essay, so the meaning of the essay or the subject is that you cannot stop an idea. Time has come. So time has come is more important. Idea is not that important. What is the meaning of time coming for an idea? The time has arrived for an idea. What is the meaning of it? So that you should have focused on first up after writing the introduction. So that mistake you should not make. Similarly, a second essay topic was greatest scientific discovery was the discovery of intelligence. So here, if you can just pick up the keyword, and a lot of people did this mistake by just picking up the keyword, and this you should avoid in the mains paper tomorrow, or if you're writing next year, you pick up the keyword and start writing on why intelligence is important, why intelligence makes us great and everything. That is not the essay. The essay is the greatest scientific discovery was the discovery of intelligence. Intelligence is an important keyword here, but more important is the greatest scientific discovery phrase, which shows that we discovered that there is something called intelligence that exists. And with this knowledge of this discovery and with this new invention, we were able to invent a lot of other things. For example, the computer. We were able to invent the AI that we are seeing in the present times, machine learning, all these things were possible because we discovered that there's something called intelligence. So you must write first up after writing your introduction on the key theme of the essay, and not just randomly explaining very simple keywords that need not that does not require which do not require explanation, right? So then the second understanding that you need to get based on like what people wrote in the essay mock, your thesis points must be laid down in a logical order. So what do I mean by writing in a logical order? Take this example: one is not born, other becomes a woman. So here, the topic is about becoming a woman. So what is the meaning of it? So maybe you can think of all the WH words that are there: what, how, why, where, etc., and try making different thesis points and then arrange them in a logical order. So what can be a logical order here? What is the meaning of becoming a woman? First up, you can write about it. What do you mean that you become a woman? So that is basically the social construct of a woman, where you attach several feminine qualities with an individual whose sex at birth is woman, is a girl child. So that you can write what is the meaning of becoming a woman, then how one becomes a woman. After explaining what do you mean by becoming a woman, you explain how one becomes a woman, and then why forcing someone to become a woman is problematic, and where our society stands today, and where does the future lie. So that it should be in a logical order, because your syllabus also says that you need to write in an orderly fashion. And so it is very important that while you structure, you come up with different thesis points, and the thesis points can be then expanded into 3 or 4 or 5 paragraphs, writing more about the same thesis point. And but these thesis points must be clearly arranged in a logical order. The third learning that you need to keep in mind is that the central point of your paragraph thesis or sub thesis must be clearly visible. So, for example, just to make you understand what do I mean when I say that, opposition brings concord, out of discord comes the fairest harmony. So here, if you're writing on this topic, and if you want to explore this idea, drawing from nature's parallel, the idea of diverse views leading to concord is visible throughout history. So this is something which you can call the crux of the paragraph here. So you need to underline here. that the idea of diverse values leading to concord is visible throughout the history. So now when you are when an examiner as an examiner you are reading more than 100 essays a day probably, because there are 14,000 copies that are to be evaluated and probably one is evaluating more than 100, maybe way more than that, then you need to clearly see what is the crux of your argument. So that is very important. I've seen in the essay copies of people that they focus on underlining more, underlining the examples more, whatever example they think is very unique. That is good, but eventually you need to underline the thesis or the main crux of a paragraph or an argument. The fundamental question is how can opposite views bring harmony. So this is the thing which is going to be discussed. I can clearly see from here, and this can be underlined. And it will be good if you once in a while you write the thesis point in the first sentence of your paragraph itself. Yes, you can experiment with writing the example first, or writing a thinker first, or writing a movie, or any other substantiation first, and then you talk about the crux of the argument. But that needs to be underlined, right? The fourth learning that you have is you can't afford to not write the contemporary relevance of essay topic. So many people are just writing just what happened in the past, for example, and not writing what is happening today. Nobody can stop an idea whose time has come. Many people wrote this particular topic in the essay mock, and here you need to also show just before the conclusion, ideally. So it should be in an orderly fashion. You talk about history first, so examples from history, then you talk about sectorally you can break it down into economy and society and legal ethical dimensions, etc. Then you can talk about the antithesis, and then you talk about the contemporary relevance just before writing the conclusion. So what can be the contemporary relevance here? What are the different ideas whose time has come in the contemporary times? So what are the ideas? So you can probably think about multilateralism is one idea whose time has come, probably. You can think about AI is a technology whose time has come in the recent times. Maybe end of racism is an idea, or you can give many examples from society, economy, and other sectors, right? Then conclusion is more important than introduction or body of the essay. After reading the conclusion, the examiner is going to reward you marks. I'm saying conclusion is more important because everybody knows that introduction is more important. Everybody is wasting, or like maybe giving a lot of time on making a good introduction. That is important, but you must also look at the conclusion. Your conclusion should not be hurried. In most places I see that people introduce using 2 pages, while conclusion is just in one paragraph. That should not be the case. Ideally you should introduce in 2 paragraphs, or maybe 3 paragraphs, and you should conclude in 2 or 3 paragraphs. Minimum for a conclusion should be 2 paragraphs. So what you can do in the conclusion, you can write solutions. If you have created a problem just before the conclusion, if you are writing the contemporary relevance of it, and you can show that there are many issues to be tackled, then you can write solutions. And it is good if you write the solutions in this format. Firstly, we need to do this. Secondly, we need to do this. Thirdly, so if you write in this manner, then the conclusion will be good. You can paint a future as well. You can show what kind of future do you want to build. You can ask this question, and then you can lay down what sort of future do you imagine with respect to the subject of the essay. Open ending can be done. So these endings, where you ask a fundamental question while ending the essay, that can also be done. That is really unique, and that leaves an impression on the reader. But before that, you need to also like dwell on it for maybe 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs. Do not rush into the ending, and this is only possible if you do not go beyond 3 paragraphs for your introduction. Most people are writing maybe 2 pages for the introduction, 2 paragraphs in on first page, 2 paragraphs on the second page, writing a longish introduction, which is going to take away a lot of take away time and space for them for writing the conclusion. So you should write the introduction within 1.5 pages. I've explained this in another video that you can find in the description. Write a relevant poem. So people write good poems, and that is refreshing for somebody who's reading a lot of essays. If you can write a very good relevant point, you can make it up on the spot as well. If you can just rhyme a few words and then make a poem, and which makes sense. So this can also be done. So think of the conclusion during the structuring. When you think of an introduction and the body and the thesis points, think also of a very good conclusion that you are going to write, and allocate enough time for the conclusion. right? And that can be possible if you do not stretch your introduction too much. So the issue generally people are facing right now is stretching the introduction and not writing enough in the conclusion. So these must be avoided. Second, the last learning that you must have is nobody can write a perfect essay in 1.5 hours. Even the best of articles people write, in the Hindu or Express, or if you look at books that people have written, they take years and years, or maybe if a good article is written, they take about a week. So when G20 happened, the analysis of the joint communique, people will be taking 7 days to write an article about it. So it is not possible to write a perfect essay in 1.5 hours. So do not think of writing a perfect essay. Try thinking of not making the fundamental mistakes that one can make in writing an essay. So this is what I want to tell you before the essay paper. And my name is Vikas Dayal. If you like this video, then hit like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. All the very best for the exam tomorrow.